We will look at a few demonstrations as well about how the organizations are and how are they important, and then we will also take a look at the different types of organizations, okay, and what are their characteristics and usages in Workday HCM. Okay, so before we go, let's take another look at the basics of navigation. All right, so just we have to familiarize ourselves with how the Workday screen looks like and what are the important areas within the entire Workday screen. So like we started discussing yesterday, on the top left hand of your screen, let me use a pointer. So on the top left, what happened? 1 second. Okay, for some reason it's not working. I'm just trying to use the highlighter. It's not. Anyway, okay, can all of you put yourselves on mute? Okay, thank you. Okay, so if you can see the mouse cursor on the top left hand of your screen, we have the Workday icon. Okay, so in this Workday icon, it is like, as I said yesterday, it's like the home button on your mobile phones. So if you are in some screen, if you are in the middle of some screen, you want to like discard that and come back to the main screen, or maybe you have finished certain tasks that you are doing and you still want to come back to the main screen and start another task, you can click on this Workday icon or this home button, and it will take you back to the home screen. This is your home screen, the screen that I'm showing you. This is your home screen. So if you press the Workday icon here, which is also the home button, you will be directed to your home screen. Okay. Just next to it is our search bar. So in the search bar, it's like your Google. So all the tasks you want to do, or if you want to find anything in Workday, like if you want to find an employee, if you want to run a report, if you want to perform certain tasks, you can search for it here. Okay. Unlike other ERP systems which has a menu-driven approach, in Workday we do not have any kind of menus. Okay, so for all the tasks that we have to perform, we have to go and search for it. Okay, I mean, there is one more way of doing it. You have to go via these applications, but these applications does not cover all the tasks that you need to do on a regular basis. So you have to search for it, and the moment you search for it, it gives you, if you have the authority to run that task or report, it will show up in your search results. Okay, so you have to search for it, and then you can start working on that task or that particular object. Okay, so that's why search bar becomes very important in our day-to-day work. Okay, we have to search for tasks, and then it will be made available for our use. Okay, and then this is the main area of the screen. Most of it is covered by these applications. These applications or worklets are kind of tasks and actionable reports that you can put on your home screen. So you can click on it and you can straight away go to that area and you can perform additional tasks, or you can view reports based on your configurations. Okay, so some of these applications are mandatory, like they will be required by your organization, so they will always show up in your tenant. You cannot get rid of them. But there are certain other applications that you can configure on your own, like you can include them in your application, in this applications menu. You can include them in your home menu, or you can remove them from your home screen as well. Okay, so they are reports and tiles, so that you can display on your Workday landing page. And there we also have the announcements. The announcements are something which the organization wants you to see or make a note of. So these organizations will these announcements will be given out by the administrator, and it is mostly like a notification to all the users who are who are users of this particular system. For example, they may start on every say Wednesday or Thursday, you might start seeing announcements asking you to submit your time if they are using the Workday timesheet. Okay, or maybe just before the performance cycle, they might ask you to submit um, your self appraisal. Okay, or if there are some holidays coming, long holidays coming, they might ask you to fill up your leave application. So that is kind of a generic announcement that is being made for all the users of the system. Okay, and you see that we have two inbox. One is this inbox here, and we have another inbox on our top right hand corner. So they're the same thing, but here it is just, it gives you a preview as well about some of the about the most recent tasks that have come for your action. Okay, so and the entire list of tasks that are waiting for your action are there in the inbox. So I'll show you in Workday, but just let me mention here that in inbox you have certain actionable um, tasks waiting for you. So there are certain tasks that are waiting for your action. Okay, so they will be present in inbox. So they are like, if you are a manager, then it would mean that you might need to approve something. Okay, somebody may have requested for a leave, so you might have to go there and approve that leave. Or maybe depending on your position in the organization, maybe you are the HR partner, or maybe the compensation partner, or maybe the security partner. So there may be some tasks that are waiting for your approval. So all those things you can do in the inbox. Okay, and the most recent four tasks in your inbox will show up in your main screen as well, just like a preview. Okay, so that you know that these are waiting for your action. Notifications will tell you about certain tasks that have already been completed. Like you may have initiated a report, okay, and that report might have been going on for say 30-40 minutes. So instead of waiting for those 30-40 minutes, you may have gone ahead and done some other tasks. So once that report is being generated, you'll get a notification saying that, okay, now the report is ready for your use. Okay, and it will have a notification. Um, so you can go into notifications and you'll get a link there where you can view your report, you can download it, or maybe you can take the related action. And there are certain other things where you might also get a notification. For example, you have applied for a leave and your manager has approved it. So after the manager approves it, you get a notification in the notifications tab, which says that your leave has been approved. So there is no action waiting for you. It's just an FYI kind of thing. So it's just a notification saying that such and such task has completed. All right. So why is it important? It becomes important because you will do so many tasks in Workday. So and as a user of an HCM system, you might have so many requirements. So it always makes sense to have some kind of notification telling you that the task you have initiated has now completed. All right, or sometimes it may be for the managers, and it's giving them an information saying, okay, such and such person has been hired, or they have been allocated this organization, and so on and so on. Another important area is the worker profile menu. So worker profile menu shows you the uh, like it's a setting, it's a profile of the individual worker. So we have important tabs out there, like the view profile, where you can view your own profile. The worker can view information about his education, his job, his location, the time, the number of hours he or she is working, and the last appraisal results, their goals. Okay, the benefits allocation, the compensation, the leave balance. So it is like uh, the one place you can go to view all the information about that particular worker, okay, including their compensation change history, their rating history, everything. So all the information about that worker, I mean, whatever the worker is authorized to view, I mean, the worker can go ahead and view using that view profile. Okay, and then you have the home button as well. So if you go to the worker profile and if you click on this home, and it will take you back to the home screen. So it is the same one as you, same screen you can go by pressing the this home icon or the workday icon here. You can go do the same thing if you press the home task in your profile. Okay, by the my account, you can change your password, view your language preferences, and so on. Okay, so that is what you can do in your my account. And workbench, sitemap, favorites, audit, drive, my reports, these are different things that you can perform regarding your workday screens, workday configurations. What are the different things you want in your workbench? Okay, and it also it shows you a sitemap, like how the workday system is organized, what are the different um, like main areas, and what and how you can navigate. And favorites are if you want to add certain tasks and certain reports to your favorites, you can add them here. Audit will tell you certain audit features about um, uh, I mean all the reports and tasks that are available to you, and it will be sorted by the functional area. Okay, my reports uh, will tell you it's a virtual drive kind of thing where you can store your generated reports, and the reports will be stored for as long as they are defined in the report definition. For some reports, the document retention is kept as 30 days. For some, it is kept as 1 day, and for some, it is 90 days, and so on. So, for as long as it is defined in the definition, like the document retention, you will get to see the report output in your my reports. The documentation is the workday documentation, and it can be used to obtain useful information on the attributes of objects, system configuration, procedures, etc. Now, the documentation link will take users to the administration guide section of the Workday community. So, to view documentation, you need access to Workday community. All right, and similarly for help, the help will of course direct the end users to the help and training documents that is again in the Workday community page. Okay, and sometimes the administrators can have a separate help page. They can configure certain other help page that is outside the Workday community. So that link can be configured right here. As a user, if you click on help, you might go and see a page which has some useful videos about how to perform common tasks within Workday. Like in my organization, we have such a help page. If I click on the help page of my organization, it takes me to a page which has some useful videos about how to do certain tasks, how to apply for a leave, and for managers how to approve that leave, how to raise a compensation change request, how to now view your leave balance, things like this. As I mean, mostly from a user's perspective, how to do certain tasks within Workday. It is not for the functional user, it is not for the implementer, but it is mostly for the user of Workday. All right, so this is how the Workday home screen looks like, and these are the different areas. These are important functionalities that are available to you within the Workday system. And if you see the gear icon here, that is the configure applications icon. This is the configure applications icon. If you click on that, you will be presented with a screen where you can add certain applications, where you can remove certain applications from your home screen. Okay, but like I said, there are certain applications that are mandatory, which are required by your organization, but there are certain other that you can add and remove and customize accordingly. Okay, so let me show the customize applications, the configure applications gear icon. If I click on that, so it gives you this two things like configure worklets. The first thing is a required worklets. So these are required by your organization. So they have been made required. So it's like the some of the icons that we have on our phones, like like the messages, the phone, and maybe the calendar, and maybe the clock, the calculator. They will always be there on your home screen. You can move them around. You can change their sequence maybe on your phone, but you cannot delete them. Okay, but so these are like these required worklets are like those system apps that you have on your phone. You cannot remove them, but there are certain other worklets that you can configure. You can remove, you can move around, you can change the sequence about how they appear. Exactly like some of the other apps that we install on our mobile phones. Okay, that is how it is configured. So now let's take a look at let's take a quick look at the core concepts. I'll just go through it quickly, just to recap from what we did yesterday. So we have 6 core concepts in Workday. They are like supervisory organizations, staffing models, job profiles, compensation, security, and business processes. So what are supervisory organizations? Supervisory organizations are used to group the employees into a management hierarchy. Okay, and they are definitely the required foundation for Workday HCM, which HCM stands for Human Capital Management. So in any organization, you would have seen that there is, of course, always a hierarchy. Okay, there are individual contributors, and there are managers, there are directors, executive vice presidents, and CEOs. Or I mean, how it depends. It varies from company to company how they are organized, but more or less, you would find that these are some of the levels that exist within the organization. Okay, so how the workers are grouped. Are they grouped based on their location? Are they grouped based on their geography? Are they grouped based on their functional area? So it all depends on how the company or how the entire um, uh, organization wants to group their employees into logical partitions. Okay, so for example, some company may be organized as say a manufacturing company. They might be organized as different departments, different functional areas. Um, um, Maybe the metals section is one, and within metals you might have one for one department which takes care of melting the materials, and then one can be shaping, one can be finishing. Okay, that can be part of the metals, and then there can be one that is assembly, and you can have one section for inventory management, you can have one for sales and distribution, you can have one for HR, you can have one department for research and development, right? So you can have all these different departments, and these departments are nothing but functional units, I mean functional grouping of workers who are performing a similar task within the organization, right? So you can have all members of the HR team within the HR department. You can have all the research and development engineers or scientists. You can have them in one department. You can have all the experts of sales and marketing in one department, right? So that is how you can organize your entire group of employees. Okay, so how you I mean, it varies from company to company, and maybe from if you are talking about an educational institution, maybe a university, then they would not have these type of organizations. They would have a completely different set of departments. Like they might have a physics department, they might have a history department, a geography department, or maybe an engineering section, and within an engineering section they may have different sub departments based on the specialization of engineering. Maybe they will have a computer science, a mechanical, electrical, and so on and so forth, right? So their way of organizing or grouping their employees into a hierarchy might be absolutely different than or a marketing or maybe a manufacturing organization, right? So how you group your employees into a hierarchy is is determined by the supervisory organizations. Okay, so the organizations will of course have their own hierarchy. So in Workday, what we have to do is we have to understand what these companies or organizations are doing. So we have to just replicate them or mimic the same setup within Workday. All right, so Workday gives you different types of organizations. So we will look at it throughout the next 4 or 5 sessions, but the most important one being the supervisory organizations. Okay, staffing models. Staffing models will define how jobs and positions are created and filled up in a supervisory organization. So it talks about how you are defining this the staffing model. It's like the metadata which talks about how you are filling up, um, how you are bringing in or hiring people within the organization. So, are you looking at a staffing model that is aimed at agility, and it is aimed at hiring a lot of workers within a very short amount of time? Okay, if that is your aim, and if you are defining each position lightly, I mean, not very like tightly, you are keeping some flexibility about your jobs and about the jobs, um, and you want to assemble a critical mass of employees in a very short amount of time. And there are no restrictions on the number of people that you might want to hire. You have kept it flexible. Okay, for example, you might say that, okay, I need 50 people, but it can be 45 and it can be 30 as well. I will see as it goes. And depending on the type of work or the amount of work that is coming in, I might start with 30 and I might go up to say around 60 or 70. Okay, so if that is how you have defined your requirement, then it's better to go for a job management kind of staffing model. So Workday gives you two kinds of staffing models. One is the job management and another is the position management. So job management gives you the agility, it gives you speed of hire because things are quite loosely defined. Okay, so like I said, you might want to hire 30 people and then you might want to go ahead and hire 60 people as well. So you have not defined it very tightly. You have kept certain leeway so that you can decide on the go. Okay, so that is one way, the one kind of staffing model. This is particularly useful when you are like hiring say shop assistants or maybe sales assistants just before your say Black Friday sale or Christmas sale. Okay, so you would see that there is a lot of like shopping activity. You are anticipating a lot of activity in your retail outlets, and you want to hire a lot of say shopping assistants or salespeople for a very short amount of time. Okay, and you have defined certain basic characteristics of the for the position. Maybe that the person needs to have a pleasant personality, he needs to be very active, and he or she needs to be um, uh, say knowledgeable about the product that you are selling. Okay, so maybe these three or four criteria you have defined. Okay, and you have not defined the number of people that you want to hire. You have a tentative figure in your mind, say 30 or 40, something like that. And so if you have that kind of a requirement, it's better to go for a job management kind of staffing model. But on the other hand, if you're looking at the director of HR, or maybe the senior manager of recruiting or senior manager of research and development. So that position is a very specific position, and you have very tight restrictions on that, on whom you want to hire. Right, so you might want to think that, okay, only a person with a master's degree, with 10 years of experience, and a language proficiency level of say 5 out of 6, and he or she has to be fluent in at least 3 languages, and needs to travel, and needs to be say a Oracle certified consultant and a PMP consultant. Okay, so if you have all these kind of requirements, then it's better to go for a position management kind of staffing model. All right, so where you are defining each and every position very specifically. Okay, so that is something we will cover when we talk about staffing models in our second week of our course. All right. Another core concept is the job profile. So job profile will define certain generic features and characteristics of a job, and you can also create a position from that particular job profile. Okay, so features and characteristics of a job will include things like what are the hours for that job, and are there any like whether you can fill um, I mean, whether you need to have contingent workers in that position or in that job profile, or will it be only for regular workers or regular employees? Okay, and whether it's a part-time job or if it's a full-time job, and what is the location maybe, or what are the certain other characteristics? What are the educational requirements, and what are the skills requirements? You can configure those things in the job profile. Okay, there's certain generic features and characteristics of a particular job. Compensation will talk about the compensation packages, grades, okay, and the plans, the allowance plans, merit plans, internet allowance plan, maybe a mobile plan, maybe a car allowance plan. So all those things, and of course your hourly or your monthly salary or annual salary that you have. So the compensation will, I mean, it's the umbrella term, and it is the generic term that we use for all kinds of packages, compensation grades, grade profiles, and plans within Workday. So one thing to remember, I'll also reiterate when we talk about compensation in detail, one thing to remember is that compensation is only about the employees. Okay, it does not talk about the payout that is given to the contingent workers. Okay, compensation will always deal with employees. Okay, then we move on to another core concept, that is security. So security controls who gets to see what and who gets to do what kind of tasks in the system. A very common example that I give, and I also talked about yesterday, is that as an employee, you are authorized to view your own compensation information, but you are not authorized to view the compensation of your coworker, right? And you are again not authorized to view the compensation of your manager. But as a manager can view the compensation of his or her reportees. Okay, but again, even though that person is a manager, he is not authorized to view the compensation of another manager, right? So what controls that? How can we control requirements like this? So it's all controlled by security. So we will take a look at the security group, security policies, securable items. Okay, how Workday does the security. Okay, another example can be that what are some of the tasks that you can perform? For example, a manager can terminate his employee. But as an employee, can you terminate your manager? Probably not, right? Because although we might want to do it sometimes, but we are not authorized to do it. We are not authorized to terminate our managers. So things like this are controlled by security. Okay, so we will talk about security groups, what are security policies, and how what are securable items. Okay, another a very important core concept that we have in Workday are the business processes. So business processes are nothing but a sequence of one or more tasks that accomplishes a desired business objective. All right. So what does that mean? For example, you have a business process within your organization, like hiring. Okay, so what are the different steps that are involved in hiring? Straight from, say, recruiting and, say, interview process, shortlisting the candidate, onboarding, manager approvals, and creating an account for that person. Okay, and maybe certain other onboarding tasks, and getting a laptop for that person. So there may be uh, several um, tasks that are accompanied that needs to be done for a hiring process. Okay, or maybe a department change. If you are changing the department of an employee from say department A to department B, there may be a particular sequence of tasks that needs to be followed. For example, the manager may initiate the department transfer, okay, and then uh, you have to give an effective date, of course, and then you may need to decide like whether um, he will when he will start in the new department. Will his compensation change? Which will his location change? Okay, and who will he report to once he goes to the new organization? So there are some of these things that you have to define. Okay, and after you initiate the department transfer, maybe it goes for an approval. Okay, it goes for your managers, so a second level approval, and then it goes to the receiving manager for his or her approval that he or she is willing to accept this worker in his or her department. Okay, so there may be certain approval tasks that are involved in this transfer activity. So if you do it manually, if you do it say by over some emails, so there is a chance that some of the necessary activities may be missed, and maybe the sequence is not followed, right? And it is not repeatable, and it is not automated if you do it manually using some emails, right? So business processes will help you to codify this processes into a sequence of steps in Workday, and you can assign the tasks to a group of people who are authorized and who are responsible for that. Okay, and then you can initiate the business process, and um, one after the other the tasks will be executed. Okay, and once one task is completed, it sends out the next task is triggered, so the next person who is so the person who is responsible for that task, he or she gets a notification, or he or she gets an item in their inbox, and they have to go ahead and take that action. Okay, so business process will have a sequence of tasks that needs to be performed to accomplish a desired business objective. A business objective can be hiring, it can be termination, it can be department change, or it can be just triggering an integration. Okay, it can be as simple as triggering an integration, but it can also be a very complex business process like hiring, or maybe termination, or maybe performance appraisal. All right, so these are some of the core concepts that are fundamental to the entire Workday HCM. Okay, so we will cover each of these core concepts in our lectures. We will take around 3 or 4 weeks, I would say, to cover all these core concepts. Okay, we will go into detail of each and every one of them, and we will have assignments for each of these core concepts. Okay, so just to like reinforce your learning. So today we will start the discussion on organizations in Workday. So before we start, any questions, any quick questions about the core concepts? I mean, I know we have covered this yesterday, but we have some new people today. So any questions you might have on the core concepts? Are you good? I mean, we will anyway cover these in detail in the next classes. But any questions you might have at this point? No? All right. So now let's go and let's move over to organizations. So organizations, the main purpose of organizations is to organize workers into groups that serve a common purpose. Right, so like I said, like it can be if it is a manufacturing organization, so you can have departments based on say machining, finishing, um, and maybe an HR, maybe the research and development, sales and marketing, and maybe executive management. Okay, shipping, distribution. Okay, so these are different groups of workers, and this group has been made in a way that workers who are serving a common purpose, they are put in a same group. Okay, so that is why organizations are needed within a company. Okay, you have to organize workers into subgroups. All right, so that is the whole purpose of having organizations. Okay, now they typically represent how work is done and how the workforce is structured. Okay, and it can actually serve many other purposes, like it can help in reporting, it can have in forming unions if it is allowed in that kind of organization, and you can also have pay groups based on this organization, like you can define where how these people are paid. Okay, are they paid hourly, are they paid a salary, do will they have overtime or not? Okay, and will they have the comp offs, will they have some additional benefits? So how you want to group your workers, that is how you define your organizations. Okay, so organizations is the bottom line is it groups workers who are performing a common purpose, right? And workers can be tied to multiple independent organization types, okay, each with a different purpose. So let me quickly show you, uh, let me quickly give you an example using this notepad. For example, we have Kevin. He's a manufacturing specialist. I will just say MFG. just to keep it short, and he is in New York. Okay. We have Susan. She is in HR, and she is in London. Okay. We have Anita. She is also an HR, and she is in Chicago. Okay. And we have Max. He is in manufacturing. So we have another plant in say China. Okay. So I'll just say Shanghai. Okay. And then we have another person called say Lewis. Lewis is Lewis is part of manufacturing, and he is in New York. Okay. Um, and we have another person called Ravi. He is in HR, and he is in India. All right. So this is just an example of 5 or 6 employees who are part of your organization. So we can, if we are grouping these employees based on their on the function that they are performing. So how many departments we will have? How many departments we will have if we are just grouping these employees
Just
based
two.
on the we
Two.
have functions. Okay, we
You.
will have two, right? So we will have one for manufacturing, and in manufacturing we will have Kevin, and we will have Max, and we will have who else? Lewis, right?
Louis.
Lewis. And then if we have an HR department, we will have Susan, and we have Anita, and we have Ravi, right? So we have these three people. Now I will say that okay, this is one way of organizing my entire workforce. Now, what if I have a requirement that I need to report based on the geographies? Okay, I also need to understand that who are the people in Asia. Okay, I have created a geography called Asia. So who are the people who will be in Asia?
Max and
Max.
Ravi.
Max and Ravi, right? Max, and we have Ravi. And then I may say that, okay, I have one for, um, I have another um, region called, say, North America. Okay. And in North America, I will have people, I will have many people. I will have Kevin. Okay. And then I will also have Anita. Who else will I have in North America? Lewis, right? Okay, so we have these three people in North America, and we may have one another region called EU and UK. And in EU and UK, I will have some
Susan.
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 Susan, I will have in EU and UK, right? Anyone else in that in that EU and UK? No, right? Okay, so I have my 6 people. So you see that the same group of 6 people can be organized in different ways, right? And at the same time, they can be part of more than one organization type. Like this area maybe we can call it a supervisory organization, okay? And this we can call it a region, or we can say it is a location hierarchy, or let's call it region, okay? Let's call it region. Now, let's have another type of organization. Let me just create some space so that I can have one more type of organization. Let's say I have a location hierarchy now. Okay, a location hierarchy. So now what I want to do is within Asia, I have 2 locations, say India and China, right? And again in North America, I have say North,
States. Yeah.
okay, or maybe I have something called Central, and I have something called East. Okay, maybe based on the time zones. Okay, I am creating some location hierarchy. And in EU and UK, I will have one for, say, let me write it first. In EU and UK, I might have one for UK and one for, say, Western Europe, and I may have one for Eastern Europe, right? So I may have these location hierarchies. And in India, so you can now view it like this, like India and China will have other locations as well. For example, say Ravi may be in India, but he may be in Mumbai. Okay, and so we have defined his the cities now. Okay, let's add some more people in our organization. All right, so let's have say Fernando. Fernando is in manufacturing, and he is in say Boston. All right, and we have another person called Delphine. She is in manufacturing, but she is in Paris. Okay, Anita is in Chicago. We have let's have Rashmi. Rashmi is in manufacturing, but she is in say St. Louis. Okay, and we have say Sandhya, and she is in HR, and she is in Delhi. Okay, and we have let's add one more person. Say we have say Zhao, and Zhao is in Shanghai, or maybe in Beijing, and um, he's in HR. Okay, he's in HR and he's in Beijing. All right. So now let's talk about the locations. Okay, so in under India, how many locations do we have now? We have Mumbai, right? Any other location within India? No. Oh no, Delhi. We have Delhi as well. So these are two locations within India. Okay, so how they are, just think about the hierarchy. So Mumbai and Delhi are two different locations. So they are rolling up to the hierarchy called India, right? And India is also part of the location hierarchy called Asia, right? So if we are talking about Asia, then we will have, if we're just talking about the members of Asia, we will have many employees here. We will have Max, we will have Sandhya, we have Ravi, and we have Zhao, right? So we have all these people who are rolling up to this particular location hierarchy, but they are part of different departments. They are part of different supervisory organizations, right? Again, these locations or these regions can be categorized into different regions based on their geographies, right? We can have one region for Asia, we can have one for North America, we can have EU and UK. Okay, so we can have these regions, but it's optional. Regions are optional, they are only used for so reporting purposes. But locations are very much used for like grouping your workers into the locations and the location hierarchies, right? Similarly, for North America, we may have Central and East. And in Central, you can have locations like Chicago and St. Louis. And in the East, you can have, say, New York. Similarly, in EU and UK, you will have, in UK, you have London. In Western Europe, you can have Paris, right? So you can have all these kinds of locations that are configured, and they will, of course, have a location hierarchy. All right, so this is a location hierarchy, and similarly within supervisory organizations also you will have hierarchies. Okay, but the bottom line is, like, one employee, say Kevin, he can be a part of more than one organization types. Got it? He can be a part of more than one organization types, but he may not be, I mean, he cannot be a part of more than one organizations of the same type. Like Kevin, I mean, it is not very common that Kevin will be a member of manufacturing. He will be a member of sales. He will be a member of, say, innovation department, and he's also a member of training and learning. Okay, he can have additional roles, but he will always be a member of one supervisory organization. Okay, he can have a primary job profile, he can have a secondary job profile. In that way we can configure one person to be a member of more than one organizations, but that for that we have to create certain complex organization types or a custom organization type. If you're just going by the fundamental organization blocks, then we will say that a person, an employee will be a member of one supervisory organization. Okay, keep that in mind. But I mean, you may have come across job profiles or personnel who are a member of more than one, or who have job responsibilities that span across more than one department, right? So you can ask me that, okay, Raj, how can we configure those things? So we will come to that. We will come our custom organizations. We have something called matrix organizations as well. So if that is a requirement in your organization where employees need to be members of more than one teams or more than one functions, then we can create something called a matrix organization. But we'll come to it later. As of now, just try to understand that all the employees will be members of one. One employee will be a member of one supervisory organization. Okay. And then the same employee can also be part of a location, right? So the point is, one employee or one worker can be a part of different organization types. Okay, because that will be determined by other factors, like they may be part of one location organization. Okay, and they may be a part of a supervisory organization, depending on their function, right? So one employee can be a member of different organization types. Okay, but it is not that common for him to be a member of different organizations of the same type. Okay, for example, his primary location is, say, Mumbai. So that is his primary location. Okay, so he will not, his primary location cannot be Mumbai and Delhi and New York. He may need to travel to those locations to perform his activities, but his primary location will be Mumbai. Okay, but you might tell me that, Raj, what about international assignments? Right? So international assignments will be treated differently. That is a separate type of assignment, but his primary assignment continues, his primary location will continue to be Mumbai, right? So that is how, that is what I want you to understand, that one employer, one worker can be a member of different types of organization, but for a particular type of organization, he will be a member of one organization only. Okay? Yes. Questions? Is this clear? Did all of you understand, like, um, this core concept? Because this is one of the fundamental concepts of HCM and of course in Workday.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean, this graphic also shows you, right? Like, we have this group of workers. So we have the supervisory organization. So we have these 9 employees who are part of the supervisory Z. But within this 9 people, we have 2 people who are part of this region Y. Okay, so, and I mean, the other employees, the other 9 workers, they may be part of one or more other supervisory organizations. Okay, but they are part of this region Y. And similarly, we have these 6 employees who are part of a cost center called X. Okay, and out of these 6 people who are part of cost centers, 3 are part of the supervisory organization Z. Okay, the other 3 may be part of some other supervisory organization, right? So it's just that one worker can be a member of more than one types of organization. Okay, and usually they are part of a region, they are part of a cost center, they are part of a location, they are part of a supervisory organization, etc., etc. Okay. So why are organizations, or what are organizations used for? So organizations are used for, I mean, they are important from a security standpoint. Okay, so we will have managers, and managers will be assigned to a supervisory organization, or maybe, or we will have leaders, or we will have roles that are assigned to an organization. Okay, now that organization can be a supervisory organization, or it can be some other type of organization as well. Okay, it can be a location, or it can be like we have location leaders, right? We have leaders who are concerned about whatever happens in that particular location. And then we have regional heads. Okay, so regional heads, or region heads, like the region heads take care about all the workers within that region. And then we have department heads as well, like people who take care about the employees of a particular department. So based on their role within the organization, based on how the organization is, I mean, the entire group of workers are organized, we need to have certain levels of security about who needs to do what, who is authorized to do what. So of course, organizations are important from a security standpoint. Okay, and then organizations are also important from a reporting standpoint. Like if we want to know how many workers are part of a particular type of organization, or how many, or whether we have the appropriate mix of employees within, say, the workers versus the management. Okay, so for all of those kind of reporting and everything, we need, um, I mean, we need some grouping of workers. So from a reporting standpoint, again, these organizations are very important. And again, for a business process, like when you are hiring, you are not hiring, like you want to hire for a particular department, right? So if you are hiring for a department, then you have a group of workers, or you have some definitions that, okay, whom are you hiring. So if you are hiring, so you are hiring, say, a salesperson, so you will hire that salesperson in the sales department, right? So you cannot, I mean, you would not want to hire a salesperson in a say, in a training department, right? So business processes are tied to these organizations. Okay, so that is when they make logical sense from a HCM standpoint. Like you have a hiring, you have termination, you have movement of workers. Okay, you have leaves and absence balances. So you have these business processes that are also tied to certain kinds of organizations. Okay, so that is why organizations are also very important for HCM. All right, so that is where I would stop. From tomorrow I'll give you a demonstration about the organizations, and I'll also show you certain charts and reports within Workday. All right, so uh, that is all I had from my side. Any questions regarding the topics that I